kind of a matchup here for these supports. It's something we haven't gotten to really see just yet here. We've been seeing a lot of the
Well, we've done it once, we can do it twice, we can do it again and again and again as many times as we need to. I don't know if the Titans took it as true to heart, or maybe it's festered, right? Like at the time, it didn't sink in, but over the last couple of months, it's done nothing but rely on them. And honestly, right now, if I'm Cyclone Spin, I'm just tilted because I keep getting hit by these Spirit Balls, dude. I mean, Wrong U's on point.
Whoa, there's a gank in mid lane. I was going to expand on Wrong U, but we need to talk about Shinto. First blood to the Leviathans. That's answered back by the Tartarus Titans. Mid lane duel, and Paul has got the damage. Double kill for the Tartarus Titans mid.
And that's, look, that's a great start for a Zeus, man. He didn't have to use his beads, gets the damage out there that he wants, and is able to find himself 2 kills. Granted, you do lose layers for first blood, so that's maybe not the best start overall. Shinto being able to get a little bit, so he shouldn't fall too far behind, but you can already see the offering for the obelisk, because I think that's been like the trade-off, right? And we just saw that Hardcore picks up the offering. I'm not sure, I didn't watch closely enough to see if he got the experience.
About the 1v1 between Layers and Panatom. Layers does not have beads, and this will be a pull. And he doesn't go with the overhead kick. What a smart play from Layers, avoids the pull in and turns around the 1v1 on the Panatom. That caught me off guard. On the other end of that. And so things cancel out. Tartarus Titans maybe get some pressure here on the dual lane side of the map. That circle protection down from Wrong Use. There'll be a nice heal on the other side, but damage is really what you need, and that's what Paul needs in the mid lane. He dodges out everything, but Panatom's got the gap closed. Lair should return a kill here onto Shinto. Both junglers active and both mid laners dead.
And it's so weird. 2-1 and 2 for both the jungle and mid there for the Titans.
Tick and steal away a fire giant in one of those games. That was pretty fun. Don't often get to see that, but
Season 9, the year of the wildest steals we'll ever see.
The support steals, that's right. Looking forward to it. Zapman takes half of his HP and damage thanks to the Desert Fury. Aurora in for the body block on the other side, and you can't beads out all of Atlas's body. And so Layers will grab the kill, and Zapman goes down, but the Leviathans considering a fight. Panatom
it's not going to be very helpful over in the right-hand lane. They've got nothing but physical damage. The Hardcore still looking for more. They might be able to find something over the wall here.
Yeah, what's Panatom going to do? Remember, Layers now has beads and that CC immunity in kit. Your core has to use the beads. One more tower shot might have killed them off. Up into the Palau goes Panatom. That means Wrong U tanking up the tower for the time being. Mystic Rush in. This is a 3 versus 2 that the Titans are happy to take. Layers adds another 4-1-2 for the Titans jungler. But Tot's not done.
And the fact that they've got assistance coming. I mean, Atlas is here now. Wrong U turns it around, gets the stun. You've got Shinto in the jungle. I don't know. That felt very
This is funny. One kill
weird.
Down as the Tartarus Titans find that over on right. Layers continuing to put pressure on left, but now it's Cyclone Spin under some threat. Up, down, onto Panatom. Zapman takes a whole lot of damage, but Cyclone Spin's got the Aegis, and Panatom gets the Leviathans back on the board.
Now, I think you're going to need more kills like that, right? Not just on Cyclone, but onto Paul, and theoretically onto... My concern for this is, now we're 18 minutes in, it's not just the Furies and the Pyromancers anymore, it's Fire Giant conversations. You have so much secure if you're the Leviathans.
You do. Got a good team fight, though, if you're the Tartarus Titans. Zapman nearly impaled against the wall, and Cyclone Spin is swinging damage. Zapman preemptive bead, smart usage there from the veteran, but Lightning Storm down. And Aegis will delay the damage. Zapman leaps away. Aurora's got to get this kill. And the beam through the shielding won't be enough, and he's a magician. Zapman lives on, and in the meantime, Cyclone Spin has died as well. You have invested everything to kill off Zapman, and you won't even get that.
I like where Aurora's mindset is at. I'm going to throw someone away from me. Maybe we'll be able to pick up a couple. Maybe I'll be able to throw a little bit away. But an overcommit, the shell gets popped. It's just enough shielding once he leaps away that there's no chase down. And we had mentioned it earlier. Atlas, like, it's so impressive to steal with because of how little it does.
Saad should be dead here. Mantle provides a nice stun. But that's a double dash into a blink from Yarkor and then a wall, and an immediate Fire Giant call from the Leviathans. Aurora just now respawns. SOT dead for 45 seconds. You're right, Gore. Final Judgment. Don't have Circular Protection. I don't think you need either.
Opportunities for him. He has to be careful still.
Zapman, nice axe back as Layers had rooted him in play. Circular Protection down, but Zapman jumps on out of it. Aurora's used a lot of that individual lockdown already at the beginning of this fight. Cooldown's waiting to come back up, and in behind, Here's Yarkor, who's got the stun, but it's beats out by Paul. A good wall corrals 3 members of the Titans in beneath their tier 2 tower, and this is where that cleave damage can really make it work. And the Leviathans, they're making it work. 2 kills underneath the tier 2 tower, 1 kill underneath the Phoenix, and the Leviathans are inside of the Titans base at 21 minutes.
Oh, and they get Cyclone. I don't know, they lose a lot. Like Panatom going down and the health bars that are left.
There's still so much.
There's so many deaths on the side of the Titans, but I don't know.
Man, I mean, that's 45?
Well, you've got 20 seconds until Aurora's back. You need these minions.
doesn't have
Paul
Lightning
does a
Storm.
lot of damage and they're low.
We'll see. We'll see what the call is immediately after this Phoenix.
He might get a kill right here.
Yeah, nearly. No, but it's Aegis out,
They're going
and here
for it.
go the Leviathans. Wrong you in with the rest of his squad around the Titan. The Titan's still a few seconds away from respawning. Paul will stand and Paul will watch as the Titan dies in game 1. Leviathans from over the wall.
You need the damage. Where
Come
is
on,
it?
Shito. Don't make me a fool. Thank you, Shito, and the rest of the Leviathans end game 1.
Yeah, they're getting a little closer.
It's just one of those things where when the lights go off, some players want to just keep going and act like nothing happened, and then some want to say, hey, let's back up until we can see again. It's just a comms diff, I would say.
Well, a very interesting draft here out of the Titans in game number 2. Can they bring a win? We'll find out.
Either the Leviathans put us on set point, or the Titans will send us on to at least a game 4.
Just a lot of troublesome scenarios that the Titans are going to have to think their way out of.
And engage from Aurora, and guess who's here? It's Panatom. Blink in. Wins of Shamash to separate the fight, and Cyclone Spin has to head out. River's Rebuke nearly perfect from Wrong You,
stun.
but the drop kick is great. Ult out from Layers. Panatom, he's on the hunt for his 2nd kill of the game. He'll find it. Double kill for the Leviathan's jungle.
Just to start things off, I mean, a good rotation and then, of course, a good counter engagement.
As far as experience goes, an opportunity to be active on the map as well. And Loki was a pick that was very popular for a little while last year, and slowed down just a bit. But I still think I really enjoy this style of play. Abduct into detonate. And that's a nice kill for the Tartarus Titans to find Wrong used a bit overextended. Lights go out. Cyclone Spin just over in lane. Not much more, but how about this rotation from SOT? Yarkor is on the right side of the map, still farming things up. Lord of the Afterlife gets used. Tether for the stun onto Panatom, who will sidestep a lot. You can't sidestep that much. Paul adds another double kill for the Titans mid.
But he bought time. Look, Hardcore's made his way over here. Zap's making a pincer maneuver.
so
They're
much-
going to try to cut him off.
This is a lot of damage into the Tartarus Titans, and they are trying to retreat. Zapman drops his ultimate, and Paul is dropped in reply. Bat Out of Hell is going to swoop on in, but Aurora dashes out. Getting 1 feels all right there.
0-5 earlier this week. Never mind. We'll figure it out as the season goes on if anything's
And they
changed
won that
for
game,
him.
to be clear. As a matter of fact, if there's a game where Zapman's 0-5, I almost think their chances of winning somehow
It
go
goes up,
Right.
yeah.
Somehow it's an increased chance for the Leviathans to win that game.
good
Nice
stun.
stun out of Rogu. Drop kick in. Panatom is on a warpath.
Double stun.
3 kills out of the Gilgamesh. Could be 4 around the corner. Wrong you tanking up the tower. And Panatom has a double kill. 4 kills out of the Leviathans 5.
Wrong You and Zap have no health and nothing to worry about. I mean, no one's over here. Loki it's maybe not the best, but Cyclone can do a really good job of it as well. I mean, Thoth Death gets you so far, but Xbalanque literally extends his auto attack range.
Ult in from Lair. Shinto uses the beads. And there's a lot of damage returned onto
no.
Lair's. Final Judgment gets canceled because Shinto doesn't need it. Killing spree for the Leviathan's jungler. 5-1 now is Panatom, and this Gilgamesh is swinging. It's pretty far into the build. Got a couple half-completed items, and another kill here will help him out. And finishing off some of that itemization, Aurora used the Scarab's Blessing. This time it pays off. Final Judgment still there for Shinto. Can't use it, though, because he's being dove on by SOT. Aurora ends up dying anyway. And now SOT is going to have to watch the Leviathans back off.
I think just good play all around. I mean, Paul has a good Lightning Storm, and if you're watching, and he's a hefty majority of what the Leviathans are doing right now.
Feels like the Leviathans can do pretty much anything on the map. Paul is in the River's Rebuke, and look at the damage from Shinto. Final Judgment doesn't connect. Aurora doesn't have Scarab's Blessing. Yeah, Paul, he'll die on the end of this fight. Drop kick in from Panatom.
Good
Body
body
box.
blocks.
They're perfect, but Aurora tanky enough to dash away. Slow is in from Winds of Shamash. Shinto dashes forward. and misses the vital bit of damage, but another death onto Paul. 2 and 2 now. Mantle of Discord just gets completed.
Even with the Titans, you know, there's not a lot of objectives secure for them. With Final Judgment, you would think, okay, yeah, free Gold Fury, whatever. It did take them a little while to burn it down, and now they can get aggressive onto Cyclone.
Cyclone Spin, rip-tided back in, dashes out of Zapman's ultimate, but the auto attacks find their way home nonetheless. Sot is rotating back over from solo lane. River's Rebuke saved, but how about that? Double Lord of the Afterlife onto the dual lane of the Leviathans. Aurora has rotated in. He's got the abduct now. Zapman being whittled away by Sot as Layers finds a second win in this fight for the Tartarus Titans. Zapman, the first casualty, but here comes Shinto. Final Judgment right down Main Street, but it goes just wide of hitting any meaningful targets, and Shinto doesn't need it. He's got a double kill anyway, a triple around the corner, but Panatom nabs it. Everyone but Paul on the Titans is dead.
All right, I gotta highlight something good from the Titans first, and that is Osiris passes. Unfortunately, he falls, but then they get a massive four-man swing. You had mentioned it, Paul was nowhere to be seen.
No.
Cyclone's just getting dove, and I feel like this Xbalanque, you know, as much damage as he can do, just isn't getting what he wants.
Core has a lot of damage, but he's taking a lot of damage. Scarab's Blessing, this one's onto the wrong target. A rare miss from Aurora, as SOT will take it for the shielding. Yarkor ends up dying in the back end, so a 1-for-1 trade sometimes favors the losing team, depending on who it is that dies off. Up, down for Panatom, as Sot adds another double kill for the Osiris.
Look, I'm starting to have flashbacks. I don't want double kills for Sot on Osiris. He's going to continue getting aggressive. He could try to stick to Shinto, but I like this. Get the damage out where you can and control this team. They've lost 2.
Watch out for
This
Paul.
is a big opening.
Paul is around to the left side now. Zapman, in the meantime, has pushed out the left side of this map. Good River Rebuke from Wrong You. Hey, Gore, you nearly got it a little bit again there. As SOT in and out of the ultimate from Wrong You. And I think
now he could.
Or not.
Be careful. The final judgment wasn't used. They wouldn't know that. They're just going to try to kill Shinto off the old-fashioned way anyway.
Good dodges from Shinto. Avoids the root. Panatom, what happened to his health bar? Layers was there, and Paul has the last bit of damage. So now 8 and 3 is Panatom, the perfect target to kill off first if you're the Tartarus Titans. Layers is low. Aurora is low as well, but you'll take a kill and you'll take a Pyromancer here if you're the Titans.
Like a full tier 3 item up over whatever the Titans have. But you have to get into a position where you can actually do that.
Paul used the beads, avoids the drop kick. Watch out for the mantle stun on the back end of this fight. There's a Scarab's Blessing in there as well. Paul will walk on out thanks to Aurora's help. But now Aurora doesn't have it for himself. He's just going to get run down. 9 and 3 is Panatom. I want to keep talking about...
Okay.
Well, we're not going to be able to talk about it. I do want to see if Zapman and Cyclone end up 1v1ing. I would put Zapman maybe a little bit ahead of that. I don't know how much we're talking about the... All right, remember you were walking around the office, and I'll hold this thought as a fight breaks out in the mid lane. Sot melted down by Shinto. Final Judgment! No, just wide of SOT. Panatom tanking up a lot of this damage underneath the tier 1 tower. Double stun from Layers, but he has sent himself to death. But Cyclone Spin rotates over from the duo lane. Finds some good damage on the Panatom and is able to complete the first kill. But again, he will trade out his life, and 3 members of the Titans are all that's left.
Look, Sot's low, Aurora's low, doesn't have the res yet, and this is great damage from Thought. They can keep moving forward.
Oh my god, Shinto is doing so much. Zapman rotates into the fight.
No way,
he's got
Shinto
a double kill.
forward?
Shinto dashes in. He's got high hopes for how that one's going to turn out. Now everyone on the Tartarus Titans, plus a sliver of HP on SOT, all gone from this map. Zapman can walk forward. I would be hard-pressed to see an end here with how strong Sot is and how long it's taking even this mid-lane Phoenix go down. Respawn's still pretty close as well, Core. As a bit of a slap fight underneath the mid-lane Phoenix happens, but how about this play from SOT? Jumps in, gets a kill on the Wrong You. Zapman is overstayed as well. Double kill for SOT, and now it's Yarkor trying to turn back one.
And look, he's dancing in the blood pool. He's getting a little bit of healing here with Layers as low as he is. He has to be careful.
There's so many blood pools.
It's still a long way away.
Wow, trade back for the Tartarus Titans. Too much for the Leviathans. You know, if you're in the Leviathans
So now all of a sudden it becomes a lot more easy for Wrong You to box people in. It becomes easy for the Leviathans to engage and isolate the Titans.
Wrong You and the rest of the Leviathans see
There
that
it
the Fire
is.
Giant has been pulled. River's Rebuke is up, and look at it, it's funneled 3 members of the Titans perfectly into damage range of the rest of the Leviathans. A mantle stun helping out on the right side of this fight as Cyclone Spin jumped on.
Good res.
Scarab's Blessing brings Cyclone Spin right back into the back line, but look at Shinto. Half of his health is missing, but shrugs it off, finds the first kill in this engagement. Panatom dueling it out. Big drop kick sends the Tartarus Titans all the way back to the wall. Paul does find the mantle stun this time. Alternate timeline jumped on. Panatom and the Leviathans win a massive fight.
And that honestly might just be it. I mean, Solar Troll, look, he put up some miracle plays earlier. He's still 5-1-5. This one's going to be big. It's a lot later in the game. About 8 minutes have passed since the last time he tried to defend this Phoenix. A lot more work is cut out for him.
Yeah, and he doesn't have layers this time, doesn't have a teammate for 25 seconds. The Tartarus Titans mount a comeback earlier on in this game under this same exact Phoenix, but this time it will not be there. The Leviathans haven't put all the damage into the Phoenix just yet. A delayed deicide and a game to win for the Leviathans.
Yeah, 10 seconds for layers. He's just going to watch this Titan go down. Now 2 up, Dave. And they're playing it pretty clean. I mean, there were a couple of slip-ups there for the Leviathans, specifically 19 minutes, maybe an overextension onto a Phoenix. They stay a little too long. Zap at one point is trying to get the passive going. Where
Yet from reaching late game, so maybe this draft is another way of saying, like, this time we're going to shut you down early.
Well, let's see how it works early out for them here, because that's where the Tartarus Titans really need to get that early lead out. Osiris and Yamoja to kind of be this frontline pressure. I mean, we saw what SOT was able to do last
He should
game.
be able to win the boxing matches, I think, early on, going over towards Sot, just because he's got the sustain and things like that. But as the game goes on, specifically diving, I'm scared if I'm literally anybody in the game about a Wukong.
Aegis worth its weight in gold for Shinto here.
Oh
Uses it early, and how about that turnaround damage? Layers thought he had one. Shinto reminds him why he bought Aegis. Paul, one auto attack from dying. And talk about a disaster start for the Tartarus Titans. It's Panatom on the back. So I'm saying the Leviathans took the winning pole option off the table just in general. Third kill of the game, by the way, for Panatom. Killing spree in the mid lane. Fourth kill of the game will evade Panatom. Oh, no. Might not evade Shinto, though. Layers mobile enough. Panatom wanted it, but a killing spree for the Leviathan jungler in the mid lane. Aurora dies over in duo as well. And Gormaz of the Leviathans are almost 2k ahead in 2 minutes.
That's a lot of K.
Lots of anti-heal and a stun to Aurora. Secures the purple buff for Zapman. Layers in mid. Doesn't get the knockup. Gets the root, though. One more tower. Doesn't get it done. Layers will survive, but Panatom's got something else in mind. It is another kill over to the Circuit. So well-timed on the rotation in from Panatom, but a little bit of breathing room now for Paul in the mid lane. Shinto back and respawning.
Right? Like you needed some space there to be able to hold on just a little longer.
Like 2 seconds from Aegis, too, for Shinto. That could have gone so differently if the timing had just worked out a little bit better. Sot has to use Lord of the Afterlife to get out. And the tick damage just won't be there. Panatom playing with fire. Zapman adds another onto Aurora here. This dual lane isn't going much better for the Tartarus Titans. As a Medusa and a Bacchus lane, Gore. Like, not surprising that it started out this way.
Not at all. It's very aggressive, good control,
but what was
good
that?
damage. No, that laugh was because you remember it was like beginning of season 7. You kept saying Medusa Oblongata like very often.
Yeah, and that was a good bit, and I stand by it.
That's it. You said Medusa, but I heard your voice, and I'm like, oh no, wait, Dave, I'm having flashbacks.
The Medusa Oblongata. It's the most important part of the brain, or something like that. Shinto has his Aegis back this time, but it will not save his life. His layers goes up and over. A little bit of an assist from Cyclone Spin on the left. Panatom on a 4-kill streak right now.
Seems pretty good.
Out for blood. Aurora will jump away, but the belly flop in from Wrong You. Riptide out beneath the tier 1 tower, and Aurora makes a nice play. Was enough. Layers nearly goes down, but the fight is abandoned. This should be a kill. That's Panatom. Blinks in. Rampage now. Yarkor with a bit of a bait. And SOT is going to have to go down and watch Yarkor safely farm up the lane without him.
Look, the Titans can't get that low 3 times in a row and have it go down. That was such a good combo, but the charge from Paul. He still gets the kill, but he canceled and then restarted. Otherwise, it might have been a one-shot.
Oh, no. How many times is this going to happen? Where Paul makes a nice play happen in mid, and then Panatom is just in range. Shutdown, though. That's big. That's a 6-kill shutdown, 4 layers. Needed to happen. And a nice little gold spike downward brings us back to where the gold was just a couple seconds ago. Aurora's just had a tough game here at Gore. It feels like as kills are happening somewhere on the map, Aurora's also dying somewhere on left. 0-3 now, just finishes up the Gauntlet of Thebes.
No way. No way, Zap.
Petrify.
He's got it.
Boop. Sends it towards Cyclone Spin. What a turn! Beads out of Cyclone Spin, and Zapman is not going to get either. As he thought he might get one or the other. But Layers, this time with the bait, got the obelisk stolen. His eyes are on mid lane now. He's gonna
First
make
my carry feeds, then I lose my obelisk buff. This is awful.
He's got something to say about it now. Aurora, you're gonna pay for stealing away that obelisk. Shinto gets a kill given over as Rongyu continues to put out pressure on this Bacchus. And I will say, Gore, as the fight is about to break out in mid, but Leviathan's a little bit stronger right now. Paul solos out Shinto on the left side of this fight. And if Panatom wanted to jump in, Paul could just not escape it. Rongyu is calling for the jump in. It looks like belly flop up, belly flop down. Beads get used by Paul. And enough tower damage will dissuade Panatom and Rongyu from continuing on.
Honestly, Panatom might be able to get something done here. The minions are going to out him, though. But
oh
look,
my God, it does it anyway.
Look at that damage that he has as well. I mean, Aurora should be able to save him. And not the way you wanted to go. 7-2. Look, you can see, look at it. Look, hardcore is kind of like, all right, come on. Like, guys, come on. Like, we can absolutely throw this game.
Well, I mean, look, they've thrown their lead. Look at the gold lead. It's gone away. Rongyu has to use the beads preemptively. And it looks like Paul will be just fine. Belch turns around, connects for a stun, but Paul is on a killing spree.
Shinto.
Was 1-3 at one point. Now 4-3 for Paul. The Titans fighting back into this game. Knock up onto Shinto, pull onto Shinto. Aurora turns his game around. Was 2 levels behind for a while. Now back to even. Gore, the lead is thrown. The lead is thrown. The Tartarus Titans
still going for it. Yeah, 1-5 for Shinto versus the 7-2. Like the polarity between the jungle and mid here.
Well, because it feels like Shinto is like dying, but trading out some good damage, and it's given Panatom the opportunity for like 7 kills throughout this game. Panatom gets stunned. Players will return an auto attack. How's that for some damage? Can't call it a 1v1 because there was an ult from Cyclone Spin. Layers will add his 4th kill of the game. Back to some symmetry in the KDA score. 4-3-3 for both Layers and
Cyclone has a lead. Do you remember how bullied Aurora's 1-4? And then just the passive farm. I mean, he's been doing a great job just existing in the world. And now the Titans, yeah, they're the bullies this time around.
Shinto has Aegis, but he was stunned and couldn't use it in time. Paul dashes through and another kill over to the Thoth and another death onto Shinto. Gore, this doesn't happen often, where Shinto is like this far behind. You don't see this with the Leviathans and with like ever. I mean, Shinto can be like even or behind in a lane, but dare I say feeding? That is very, very rare for Shinto out of the mid lane. Yarkor is going to dash away. He'll die here. But is it to the tower or it's an SOT? That's the SOT. Oh, we're on the wrong side of the map. SOT. The tower wasn't going to kill him. It was hitting Sa. We're so far on one side of the map. I was sure that it was Yarkor who was too far gone, but it's the Titans who have now rallied, and it's the Titans who are continuing to find kills. No shot.
You know, Dave, back in my day,
no shot.
The Leviathans had a 2K gold lead.
We're 11 minutes into this game, and the Titans are going to pull the FG, and it's going slow. But look, the Leviathans aren't here. It can go as slow as you want when the Leviathans are just not on your side of the map. The Titans have turned this game around. They were 2,000 gold down and 3. He's 2 levels behind. And the Titans have FG, for God's sakes, at 12 minutes.
There's several MLB pitchers jealous of the throwing techniques that the Leviathans have here, man. I mean, absolute swivel in favor of the Titans. And there's still a lot of opportunity. Look, when you're 12 minutes in with a giant, typically I was going to say there's a lot of fight back, but then when you one-shot someone with a final judgment and Panatom has to run back onto the Phoenix because you're aggressive on the tier 2, it's a different game they're playing.
I have never seen a 7-3. Nice belly flop from Rongyu. Belch out. Paul gets another kill, though. There's just not enough damage from the Leviathans. And it's only Paul who's under threat of dying here. But the Leviathans have tossed this game to the side, and the Tartarus Titans have commandingly come back in.
It was a clean pitch right down over the plate, center, and the Titans, instead of having it go flying by and it's a strike, they get a home run.
Yeah, they knock it out of the park, Gore.
Not quite even overall there in solo. Then the duo lanes falling slightly behind 2 levels there for Rongyu. That's going to matter most when Yemoja hits this level 12 mark, gets that second relic. And at the rate they're going, they're power farming over on the Leviathan. So they're going to be able to find them pretty quickly if they keep getting kills at this rate.
How different this game feels for Rongyu. I mean, think about Bacchus early, and everywhere Rongyu went was free engage. He was belly flopping to his heart's content, wasn't worried about a thing, anything but now. Layers on a killing spree. 2 more Leviathans dead. Zapman should make a 3rd. Lord of the Afterlife all but confirms it. And Layers snags a double. The Tartarus Titans have blown this game wide open. They still got a Fire Giant buff for 30 seconds. And into the mid lane Phoenix they go.
A 14-minute Phoenix is incredibly quick, and they're burning it pretty fast on top of that. They're getting more kills under the Phoenix as well.
Can they just end?
They might be able to just walk into the end here.
It's a 15-minute game, and the Tartarus Titans were behind 2,000 gold in the first couple of minutes. SOT has a double kill. The Titan looked at by the Titans. Leviathans back and respawning. Out of the fountain goes one. Paul sent into the fountain, and Panatom will grab the shutdown. And it looks like this game goes on. The Titans will not be able to end in 15 minutes.
They're still ahead, though.
Whoa.
They're getting kills on the retreat. They lose their FG buff, but they're still in a good spot. Look, Oni, Fury, Pyromancer, and that FG pretty much all lined up in terms of timers. So it's going to be fun to watch how this shakes out, especially if Zap can get this kill.
Zapman sends a Petrify towards Cyclone Spin, but Aurora quick on the shell. Zapman actually under a little bit of threat here. Aurora does decent damage. Lotus Crown helping out Aurora. Layers through the River's Rebuke. Will body block off Zapman, and there's a kill. Layers on a rampage. And Zapman ends up going down for his trouble. Zap was laughing just a moment ago. I think the Leviathans realizing this game has gotten just a bit out of reach. Shinto has beads and has Aegis and will use one of the two. And now the other one goes down, and once the Aegis times out, Layers in on the kill. Yarkor tried to pull one back, but Layers to sustain the shielding. It's too much, and Layers will live, and there will be no return kill for the Atlantis Leviathans. Yarkor off the Somersault Cloud, down into death. Cyclone Spin with another. The conveyor belt continues for the Leviathans as Wrong You now belly flops in. Panatop being chased down on the right side of this fight, and the Titans can do no wrong.
Well, maybe. Oh, no.
No
If he had
chance.
tossed him, it's this weird dynamic. Solar Troll kills you if you toss him under the tier 2 further, but he takes more damage.
Around their waist for another 3 or so minutes. I'm hard-pressed to see an avenue back into this game for the Leviathans.
Yeah, it's difficult, but realistically, it's under a Phoenix or it's in the Titan. Because at this point, you've got some good damage, you're behind, but this is where you can start it off.
Whoa, Cyclone Spin, that'd be a great first pick. But there's too much damage from the Titans on the back end. Final Judgment, it's not there. Yarkor, Somersault Cloud down. He chunks down some damage off of Cyclone Spin, but he is deleted in trade. Zapman, Wrong You, and Shinto, the last 3 alive for the Atlantis Leviathans. 18.5 minutes on the clock, Gore. And the Tartarus Titans have 30 kills, 2 FGs, and what looks like will be a Game 3 win, and they'll push us on to a Game 4.
Yeah, I think this one got out of hand fast for the Levi's is the best way to describe it. Gotta grab my balloons here.
Panatom was 7-3 at one point this game.
Yeah, so do you
Shinto is
remember
1
when
and 10.
we were watching this and we were like, oh, look at that, 2K gold lead for the Leviathan. Like, it felt like it was over super early on in this game. And it felt like it was, I mean, anytime the Leviathans were getting a kill on right, they were killing Aurora on left, any amount of pressure they had elsewhere, it just felt like they were bound to get a kill. And then they keep diving towers, and those kills slip away.
How does that
and then
matchup fare up against what the Leviathans have drafted Trelly?
It's a lot of early pressure. Again, this Morgan pick, it's so versatile. You never really know what the transformation is going to be. It's safe to assume it's going to be that Camazot's the bat out of hell, such a good engage or disengage. But if you want to switch it up, go for some hard CC. The Bastet is there. If you want to get really crazy, you could drop 2 Yemoja
in the right hands, and right now Wrong You is in the right hands, being able to jump forward, kind of get those knockups, have the belch for control, good zoning, things like that.
Whoa, nice play from Panatom.
Oh my God.
Finds the teleport into Paul, and there's first blood. Layers won't get a return kill even. Shinto notches one in the mid lane. Leviathans off to a 2-0 start over in the mid.
And this would be, I mean, the real opener for him.
Possible. SOT feels a little bit more like unhinged at times than Benji did, you know what I mean? As far as on-field play, like the W key mentality for SOT, some of the more unique plays. Cyclone Spin ganked and teleported and won't be pulled by Panatom because the pullback in deals the last bit of damage, and the Susano off to a 2-0 start. But the point about SOT, Gore,
did that a lot of the time as well. But I think we got to see a lot of the fresh starts of what is going to be a fantastic career for Solar Troll last year.
Aurora's trying to steal away the lane minion, and Riptide's the wrong direction, takes a tower shot and a stun, and Panatom was there anyway. An unfortunate moment for Aurora, as now there's a nice column of ones. Feels a little bit more confident, but that mana bar was quite low. Wrong You over in mid, gets a stun onto Aurora, and when Panatom is around the corner, you got to be worried about what's about to happen. Blinks over the Riptide, stun out from Paul. transforms into the Camazotz. Bat out of hell could be around the corner here. Layers looks for the root, gets the pullback onto Wrong You. Bat out of hell is in. Doesn't end up connecting for much damage for Paul. D transforms on the left side of this fight. Belch out, belly flop in, Layers down. Shinto adds the only kill in mid.
And there's where that damage comes through, right? It's just that you dive too deep. You know, Zeus, he's immobile. He's easy to chase down.
That's out of like 80% of game 3. The last 80%. Wrong You is very effective on this Bacchus pick, Gore, and the start of game 4 has felt very similar. Should be a 1v1 for Panatom here. It is. Cyclone Spin, no chance. When a 3-0 Susano rotates into your lane, and you're a Rom, and you don't have ult.
That Layers is picked up.
No.
Oh, poor Zap.
Yeah, poor Zap. The writing is on the wall here, and he misses his axe. Might have some damage on the other end, and leaps away. But Layers jumps in as well. Snipes from Cyclone Spin, ult out of Layers. And that'll be the first kill of game number 4 over to the Titans.
He keeps his beats, loses his life, gets 2 ults. Weird dynamic, but maybe a little bit of an even trade. Like at the end of the day, being able to get all of those really does create an opportunity, or at least a void now for the Titans, where Cyclone Spin's not going to be able to find many snipes, so there's damage missing. But most importantly, Layers doesn't have that ult, and that's brilliant engage from a Bastet.
What is going to happen to Wrong You here? He uses Intoxicate, but I think the Titans thought that the rest of the Leviathans were a little bit closer. Wrong You nearly just gets taken down by Aurora here and has to walk right back into the River's Rebuke. Should be a kill for the Titans. Wrong You not able to get out of Aurora's ultimate. Now Shinto laid into this fight as well. There's a Lightning Storm awaiting on the back end. Whenever Shinto is ready to use it, Paul transforms once again into the Camazotz. Bat out of hell is defensive this time. And another individual trade for the Tartarus. Again, not this time. So the Leviathans and the Titans. Remember, it was right around this point where the game slowed down, where the Titans found themselves their first big fight. Leviathans will look to remedy the issues from game 3 here in game 4, and they're able to do so. Layers rotates over to the right. Ultimate is no good this time. Typhoon finds a knock-up on the Layers as it's sent over to the left. Panatom desperately trying to outrun the cat, able to do so. Yarkor gets the second kill, and the Leviathans keep their pace.
I don't know if I've seen someone that close in the jungle area. But as of now, you know, you're 1 and 3 for your Bastet. The ult hasn't necessarily been providing, I think, as much as they want. So the Leviathans are feeling, once again, confident in themselves, able to move forward. Wrong You is using this ult very just...
Whoa! Cyclone Spin before he's even able to get into the ultimate. Takes massive damage from Wrong You. Layers, though, rotates over to the left side of the map. And he will trade out one with Zapman. Both ADCs are gone. So Wrong You under a little bit of pressure, but Panatom, the 4-0 man, takes a lot of damage from Paul now. Transforms into the Camazotz. Bat out of hell could provide the last bit of damage, and it sure does. And the Titans will not give up quietly, and Paul will grab another kill here this game.
I mean, I was going to say, Sot, Layers, Cyclone, Paul, all still available. You could have Sot kind of pick up the Fury and potentially try to fight, but now they might lose Cyclone.
Yeah, you are going to lose Cyclone here, and it's Wrong You on a killing spree as the third of the game now for the Bacchus. Shuts down an important target on the Tartarus Titans. 35 seconds left on Cyclone Spin's respawns. Wrong You needs to get out cleanly here, though, to make it feel absolutely worth it. An ultimate gets used, but Bacchus is tanky. Takes another sip of his drink, and the Prot's stacking up. So Lower Troll has eyes on a Tier 1 tower dive, and the Leviathans will wag their finger in their face.
I like the fact that they're still able to fight back. They're finding a lot of good setup, despite a lot of the kills going in favor of the Leviathans, despite a lot of the gold going in favor of the Leviathans. I mean, look at where Hardcore's at.
A lot of damage from Paul, but he takes a lot of damage in exchange. An ultimate from Layers sends Yarkor to his death. Paul, with the immediate transform into Camazotz. Bat out of hell, gets him out of dodge. Snipes up from Cyclone Spin, looking for Panatom. Won't end up connecting. Wrong You, back in on a belly flop. Gets a double knockup, but doesn't have his belch. Doesn't have Intoxicate either. You just got to chase him down if you're the Leviathans, and they're able to do so. SOT ends up getting detonated, but the last bit of damage is Panatom.
So far, 1 for 1, solo for solo. If they can get Layers, if they can get a Roar, either one of them is worthwhile. Beautiful. River's Rebuke, but Zap goes in. He gets the stun as well.
Oh, Zapman says hello. Gets a stun onto a Roar. Cyclone
Shinto's
Spin
here.
Returns a lot of damage, and Shinto on a killing spree. Zapman up and over the wall, and Zapman sets up a kill for his mid.
I've got to give him credit. Most people see those walls and they pull back. I mean, with the team where they were, maybe you could pull back.
Transformation target, Gore. Bat out of hell has been a useful tool for Paul, but last couple of times it's felt defensive. Ultimate out, onto Zapman, has beads, has Aegis, uses the beads to jump out, uses the Aegis to survive the dive, and Zapman will live, but not without a tense moment. Typhoon flies through, snipes out a Cyclone Spin from the left side of the map, don't end up finding their target. Transformation out of Paul, who jumps on top of Shinto here, but how about the
Oh,
stun on
man.
Nepal? And Yarkor has got the last damage that the Leviathans need. Shinto evaporates Aurora's health bar, and the Leviathans, they'll grab 2 more kills.
And again, this is that call. Look, this should be a beeline to the Fire Giant. A few people go to zone, but we can see from here the Titans are falling back. Cyclone's ult is down, so a lot of the major steal potential disappears from the Titans almost immediately. But it's still going to take a little bit of time. Zatman's low. Like, this is one of those awkward Fire Giants where you don't want to take too much damage for it, so he's going to have to be careful. Lava pools, all that stuff. Either way, massive lead for them. Plus the
Leviathans on their dive in. And on the flip side, I look for a lot of this. Wrong Ugor, even with the only 3 completed items plus the upgraded starter. At level 18, so tanky on this Bacchus. And Cyclone spin, melting down up into the ultimate he goes. Zatman takes 2 out of 3 of the snipes. The third hits Shinto, and Cyclone will riptide over to the side, and wouldn't you guess it, it's Wrong You on the belly flop back in. And wouldn't you guess it, it's Yarkor with a double kill. Paul and Aurora, the last 2 alive for the Titans. And it'll end up being down to Paul, who will not make it back into the fountain. And despite a stumble in Game 3, the Leviathans take Game 4, and they'll be your SPL kickoff tournament champions.
reigning world champs still reign supreme overall in the SPL. Granted, it was a fun one for a lot of these teams to be able to come through, showcase what they have. I'm sure the Leviathans are
A bigger
enjoying
tournament win than Worlds.
Nah, I'm sure they're enjoying themselves. Just the same, maybe not the exact same level of hype as Worlds, but at least they're having
fun. Yeah, no
fun.
one's crying, no one's hugging, you know. I'm sure you're.
I don't know.
I don't know, Ron. You seem pretty thrilled there. Look, this is. I think the way